Welcome back everyone. I wanted to hit on quickly some of my favorite used MacBooks that I would probably recommend to a ton of people out there to purchase. Now obviously if you have all the money in the world and everything to spend, getting the 16-inch or 13-inch MacBooks are probably the better way to go, like the brand new 2019, 2020 ones. I feel like it doesn't really get much better than that, or even like the latest MacBook Air. Those three MacBooks are some of the best, laptops you can buy, and I would probably recommend picking up those if you have all the money in the world. But if you don't have all the money in the world, picking up some of these ones that I would recommend would probably be a better way to go too if you're, stuck in a position where you can't afford those latest ones. Getting some of these used ones is a really good idea too, and there's some advantages for picking up these older ones too. Now, this is the one where I would probably start off with, and this is the lowest I would go in terms of the MacBook I would recommend, and there's a major reason for it. And the absolute lowest priced one, the oldest one I would go to and recommend to people safely, would be that 2013 MacBook Pro Retina. Now, I purchased mine. I've not made a video on it, so I'm going to probably use old footage of other MacBooks, but I personally think that this is the oldest one I would recommend to people, and the main reason for it is because it's still supported with software. This one is supported with macOS Big Sur. The 2012 that I also have is not supported, which kind of sucks a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping that, this one, the original Retina MacBook Pro, would be supported, but it isn't. But the 2013 one is, and I can tell you performance-wise, everything, it's not going to be like it's not going to, replace a Mac Pro or anything like that, but for what it brings for the price that you're paying for it, it's actually pretty decent, and the fact that it's still supported with software is pretty impressive. So, inside of getting that dual-core CPU, my specific model has 8 gigs of RAM, I believe, and it's really nothing that it's not going to be a great performing laptop by any means. Mine is the 13-inch one, but I would recommend the 15-inch one as well. The screen is still great. You still have 2 USB ports, those standard USB-A ports, I think they're called. You have 2 Thunderbolt 2 ports, and for the most part, it's decently built. This thing feels like $1,000 laptop still, and you can easily find these for less than like $400 for the 13-inch models, and I believe $500 for the 15-inch models. I've seen a couple of them go for less than $500, and that's a pretty decent price to pay for these things. Still, if you can spend a little bit more, I would recommend the next laptop that I'm going to recommend. But these 2013 ones I think are the oldest ones I would safely recommend to people just because of that software update. Now the next generation after this, the 2014 MacBooks, are another one I would recommend, the next set. And I own the 2014 one for quite a bit of time. I started off this YouTube channel with it, and I edited all my videos on it. I think I replaced it 2 years ago or something, and it was a workhorse. It was a very good MacBook, and performance-wise, it handled pretty much everything I threw at it. The fans kicked up all the time, but other than that, I had the 8 gig base model, the 128 gigs of storage, and overall I had a pretty good time with it. Now, the best thing about these MacBooks, these older ones, from the 2015 Retina ones to the lowest ones, is there weren't a lot of modifications you can do with it, but there's one that was very impressive, and that was upgrading the SSD. So with these 2013, 2014 ones that I would recommend to people, you can actually replace the SSD within it as long as you can purchase them on eBay or Amazon or whatever, and that's exactly what I did with my 2015 one. So you can get the base model 128 gig one and just get a 1 terabyte SSD as long as it fits on your MacBook, and just replace it even for the Retina MacBook Pros, which is exactly what I did with my 2015 one. So the 2014 one you could pick up for around that $500 price tag as well. You might be able to find some that are cheaper than that, and I would recommend the 2014 ones way over the 2013 ones because you're still going to be getting probably 2 years of software support on top of it. So the 2014 ones would be the ones I recommend right after, and then followed by, you would have guessed it, the 2015 MacBooks. And these 3 MacBooks are one of the main MacBook Pros that I would recommend to people, mostly because they're safe. You're not going to run into any keyboard issues. You still have those older style ports, which I prefer. I like these older USB ports. And you have some customizability when it comes down to increasing that SSD size. With these touch bar ones, you don't have that capability, which is really sad. I really wish I had the capability to do that, but we don't. So we have to spend more money to go ahead and upgrade the SSD. With these Retina standard ones without, USB Type-C and stuff, these ones do have that capability, which is really cool. And my main MacBook I use when I'm on the go and everything is a 2015 Retina MacBook Pro. I don't use a 16-inch. I had that one. I don't use like a whatever. I use my 2015 one just because it has those ports that I need. It has that SD card slot. And when I'm on the go, when I connect my mic to my MacBook, when I connect an SD card, those are some of the most important things for me personally. They may not be important to you, but those things are some of my most used things in these things. So the next set of MacBooks that I would recommend would be the MacBook Airs, and most probably the 2015 MacBook Air. That is also a decent one. All these MacBooks I listed before have that older style, MacBook Apple logo on the front that glows, and the non-good looking screen compared to the new ones, no touch bars or anything. But I still think the 2015 MacBook Air is decent for the most part. I just reviewed it not too long ago, and I think it's pretty good, for the price that you're going to pay for. Like, you can pick them up for less than $500 easily for the base model, and for the most part, that is a pretty decently built MacBook. It'll get you from point A to point B. Really, the main problem with that would probably be the lack of an SD card, but even on top of that, it's probably the screen. It's not a really good looking screen, but for the most part, like I stated before, I think it gets the job done for the most part. And I think the 2015 MacBook lineup that whole entire year were pretty good, maybe besides the Retina MacBook, which was the 12-inch one. And I don't know why, for some reason, I still like it. I still like this MacBook for some reason. I think it's the portability because of how sleek it was, how slim it was, and how good looking it was. This was probably one of my favorite looking MacBooks of all time, even above the 16-inch, and when they make the 14-inch, I'll probably overtake it. But I would, if you want to, I would say I would kind of recommend you to pick it up, but you have to understand that the problems, it has one USB Type-C port, which, for a lot of people is probably going to suck. But on top of that, the keyboard could literally go out at any moment. You could have that keyboard working perfectly fine 1 second, and then it would go perfectly bad the next second. And that's something that's a, risk you're going to have to take when you purchase a MacBook like this. So ultimately, that's another set of MacBooks, the 2015, 2016, 2017 MacBooks. You can pick them up if you want to, those 12-inch models, but I probably wouldn't recommend it either. But the portability of those was one of my favorite things about it for sure. Now, the last set of MacBooks that I would probably recommend to people would be those 2019 MacBooks, those Touch Bar MacBooks. And either the 13-inch or 15-inch, those ones were great in my opinion. Now, they still suffer those keyboard issues that a lot of people may have had issues with. But luckily, I feel like less people had issues with those ones than the previous ones. But on top of that, Apple is still doing that repair program, and they're probably not going to end it anytime soon for the 2019 ones. So that's another big thing to keep in mind. If you purchased a 2019 Touch Bar MacBook, Apple will still replace it. You just send it to them. They'll send you a new one. And chances are, if you run into a lot of issues over time, they might just give you the newest ones anyway, like the 16-inch ones and maybe the 14-inch one in the future. But I had a really good experience with my 2019 one. Of course, I returned it and then I bought the 16-inch one, but the 15-inch one did a really good job for me overall. It got me from point A to point B. I don't even think I reviewed it at the time. I don't think I shot any footage, so the footage I'm using is probably the older one. But I had that hexa-core model, I believe. And now, the only problem with the 15-inch one, and maybe the 13-inch one, would be the storage size for the base model. With the newer ones, the storage size I think went up, at least for the 16-inch. We now have 512 as the base model. The 15-inch had 256, and if you want to go up to that 1 terabyte, it's actually a lot of money, you can get like a 16-inch for the same price as a 15-inch one, so that doesn't really make any sense. But in my opinion, I think those 15-inch and 13-inch 2019 Touch Bar MacBooks are also some of the best used MacBooks you can purchase in 2020. So, like I said before, if you have all the money in the world, getting those newest 16-inch MacBooks or the 13-inch ones, whichever one you prefer, going to apple.com and purchasing them that way are probably the better ways to go. But if you want to save money, this is my list I would recommend, and all these will be linked down below. Whichever MacBooks I can find on Amazon, which is probably not going to be a lot of them, I will link down in the description below so you can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. But that's really pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.